live in that sort of like area of the province, more sort of like the central part of the province sort of thing. That highly religious, churches are strong there, and all the rest of it, and that's where I grew up in. And again, not the religious part didn't so much come from my immediate family, like with my father, and my father wasn't least bit religious at all. My mom was to some degree, but for myself personally, it came from the generation before that. My grandmother on my mom's side, she introduced religion to me, and conservative Christianity and all that sort of thing. And my mom carried it to some degree, but my mom had a lot of issues going on with her as well, the mental health issues and so on and so forth. And in a lot of ways, I feel that being religious for her actually made her health concerns worse instead of better, because again, she had the worst of dogmatic religions more to sort of shoved down her throat, and where she was sort of like somewhat mentally unstable. I don't know if that's really the best way of phrasing it, guys. Hypersensitive to things or whatever. I think she was possibly hypersensitive to things. I know I'm hypersensitive to things. She would reflect on a lot of that sort of stuff, and it would bother her and torment her and so on. That, and I really do believe it contributed to her mental illness considerably. Being obsessed with the worst aspects of religion, the Christian religion in this respect, but I mean, I'm sure every religion has that side to it that is very negative, very dogmatic, very controlling, very fear-based sort of thing. And a lot of that was really shoved down my mama's throat. I say that's probably the way it was, as was probably the case with her mother, and God only knows how many generations, going back, because I don't know my family on my mom's side going back many generations. So I had that sort of introduced to me at a pretty young age there, guys. And when I say young age, I'm talking first about as far back as I can remember, because some of my earliest memories of my grandmother was like her reading something from the Bible to me, or her teaching me how to pray, or her having me say grace before a meal, or her sitting down and talking to me about Jesus or something like that. Like anytime I think about my grandmother on my mom's side, she passed away when I was 7 years of age. Those are the things that kind of come back to me, sort of thing. So yeah, it was very, 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 very early on, guys, in my life, from my grandmother's side of the family, my mom's side of the family, my grandmother, and that's how I was introduced to it, sort of thing. Now the thing that I want to point out here, where I seem to be different from like the overwhelming majority of people out there, was that I never bucked against any of that. I actually found it rather intriguing and rather fascinating. And I don't know, guys, if I had not had that introduced to me at such a young age, and kind of like the foundation laid that way for my life, if I would have still pursued spiritual paths regardless, because I sort of kind of think that I possibly might have, because I'm just inclined in that direction regardless. I always have been. And so the way that I took to those things so quickly and so easily, and so almost enthusiastically, sort of thing, thinking that this is just the way everybody is, sort of thing, but finding out fairly early on in my life, guys, as I kept going through all this indoctrination and this religious path or whatever throughout my childhood, because I never really stopped, from that point on, from my very early childhood on up to my adolescent years and young adult years. I just kept pursuing religious matters, and from a Christian perspective and so on, that pretty much my entire life, But I discovered pretty early on that most kids aren't like that, guys. Most kids have zero interest in religious matters and no interest whatsoever, no inkling to jump over that barrier or whatever into more broad-based spiritual matters. So I found out very, very early on that I am really, really an odd man out when it comes to these sorts of things. Now, why? I don't know. I've asked myself that my entire life, like why I differed so much from everybody around me growing up. Why I continue to differ so much from everybody around me even now at this stage in my life, guys. Because I still have difficulty coming in contact with people that think the way that I think and have an interest in these topics the way I do and to the level that I do. And I don't know. I don't know, guys. I don't know why I am the way I am in this regard. I don't know why these things interest me so much. I don't know why there's such a passion for me. But they are. They always have been. And now, as I am only a few weeks shy now, guys, of my 60th birthday, and just thinking a lot about that, guys, a lot about finishing up this 5th decade of living, beginning my 6th decade of living. And I have to say, in all honesty, pretty much what's going to end up now being the last chapter of my life. I'm here, I'm doing this thing, I'm living my life by myself. I live this single solitary life, very much so, guys, very much a single solitary life. I mean, solitude, it's just, it defines my life. It has defined my life, my entire life, because I have always had such a great difficulty in finding other people, other souls, that I can instantaneously have this deep connection with. What's happening now, of course, is that as my life is kind of almost ebbing away, is what it sort of feels like sometimes when I think about it. I'm being forced to ask myself over and over and over, like, what is the point of it all? What like, why? Like, I'm not achieving anything. Being this way has not allowed me to achieve anything. I've never made any deep connections with anybody. Because of this, because of the way I am, because of the way I think, the way I believe, what interests me and all the rest of it, it seems like I have driven people away from me left, right, and center continuously. Still do. And because I am the way that I am, I can't fit in. I don't want to fit in. I have no interest in fitting in to a world and a society that, to me, overall, seems so surface and so shallow, guys. So, I mean, I felt this even as a kid, but now with several decades of living on top of that, I feel it like just super razor sharp, guys. I don't know how to put that in words that can make any sense to you. It's like it keenly, painfully almost, every single day of my life when I walk through these doors, wherever I live to, sort of thing, when I go out and face the world, it hits me like a 2x4 upside the head, basically, for a crude way of putting it, sort of thing, how different I am from the rest of the world and the way most people function, and the way they think, the way they act, the way they behave, the way they dress, what interests them, the things that they talk about, and all the rest of it. And how, to me, guys, the overwhelming majority of people out there seem disconnected to me, sort of thing. Disconnected with the deeper meanings of life and how to live your life more richly, more fully, and how to be connected with energies and powers and forces that enable you to be that way. And I mean, and I see that with like, just it runs the gamut with every single solitary thing in life, guys. With the way now technology has taken over our lives, for example, and how everybody is just free falling into just grabbing hold of this technology, and just being dumbed down with this technology, and just being lulled into this insane stupor with this technology, that your every waking hour is spent online, guys, doing the silliest superficial things and so on that. And there are whole categories of your life, there are whole spheres of your life that you choose to ignore because you spend every waking hour online, playing your games, going into social media stuff or whatever. And the downside of it, and I can see it so keenly, guys, the real world suffers because of it. Like the actual physical world that people are in, body and bones, suffer because of it. Because their attention, their focus is not on that world. It's not on the world that they're actually in physically, body and bones. All of their attention is on social media and living their lives through social media and through the current technology. Everybody's jumping on this bandwagon now with AI, and they're relying on AI to do more and more stuff for you, sort of thing. And so I have seen in less than 3 decades, roughly since the year 2000, 25 odd years, and 25 plus some odd years, because I think it was kind of like beginning to phase in toward the end of the 90s, last century there. But the year 2000 and up to this date here now, I have seen an insane decline in pretty much everything in life, guys. Everything that adds to the quality of life and makes life more richer, because of this just like going head first in this direction of absorbing all this technology and throwing yourself into it, like body, bones, mind, intention, wholeheartedly, every part of your being thrown into all this technology, and all your focus put in that direction, and not caring about a single solitary other thing outside of that. And I have watched that now over the past 25 plus years occurring, developing. I've seen the devolution to where we're at today, sort of thing. To the point that almost nobody thinks deeply anymore. Nobody has any patience anymore. Nobody puts any thought into how they present themselves anymore. Our stalls are suffering, grooming is suffering, health is suffering, architecture is suffering, pop culture in general all around is suffering. It's on a decline. It's becoming more shallow. It's becoming more and more superficial. It's becoming basically more and more non-existent. And I'm sitting back and I'm seeing all this stuff, guys, and I'm just in a state of this dismay. I mean, in a state of dismay, a state of shock, a state of like, I'm becoming more and more and more out of sync with everything, and I'm saying to myself, like, what is there to connect with? Like, there's nothing in there's truly nothing in this world, in this life right now, currently, with the way current pop culture, if you can even say there's any pop culture to speak of, the direction that it's been going in for the past 25 plus years now. There's nothing, guys, absolutely nothing that interests me, and absolutely nothing that prompts me to want to be connected with it, sort of thing. you know. So I recently had somebody told me that I kind of need to kind of change my attitude a little bit about technology and kind of become a little bit more tech savvy. And if I want to get ahead more and so on, then I got to learn how to do stuff online more and be more willing to do more stuff online and so on and so forth. Now all the forces that be right now are pushing us more and more in that direction. And why, I don't know. I'm truly beginning to feel more and more and more that there are powers that be that are doing this deliberately and I see this all the time online on YouTube, conspiracy theories and all the rest of it sort of thing, that say that that we're being manipulated, we're being controlled, and we're being dumbed down, and I'm almost seeing it myself now, guys. More and more and more, because like I look at this generation, and when I say this generation, I'm talking like teens, young adults in their 20s and so on. Basically, anybody that was just entering into their teens, as the 90s were coming to a close, and the year 2000 hit, and started going to the young adult years around that time period, and there's certainly everybody that was born around the year 2000 and onward. I've seen it. It's like teenagers now and young adults now, for lack of a better way of describing it, guys, they almost seem like a different species to me. Like they're human in form, but there is nothing about them that I know how to relate to. And I must seem just as strange, and people of my generation and my way of thinking and so on that must seem just as strange to them as they seem to me. And that's the only way. The differences are so stark and so vast, they almost feel like a whole different species of person to me, from what I know and understand, as being normal and functional and healthy and all that sort of thing, And so I've seen that. I've experienced that now over the past couple of decades or so, past 2.5 decades or so. And as has always been a part of my life, guys, I look at stuff, I analyze stuff, I seem to see things to a deeper level. And I don't understand why more people don't do the same thing, or can't do the same thing, or can't be bothered to do the same thing. So, excuse me, I'm holding the camera here, guys, and I'm forgetting to keep it angled right there as I'm talking.